I'd like to welcome you to the home of the United Kingdom Parliament and for this important conference here today.
That atrocities, other atrocities, including arbitrary arrests, public hangings, amputations, are still being perpetrated by the authorities in Iran. And it was this appalling pattern of conduct that prompted the United Nations Human Rights Council to appoint a special rapporteur for Iran and to make it the rapporteur's mandate to document these atrocities and progress on the human rights issues in that country and to present the findings in an annual report to the Council. And anyone who reads the last 6 reports can only conclude that the human rights position in Iran is worsening in many areas and hopes, frankly, of any improvement remain an illusion. And the sad fact is that we have witnessed an unprecedented spike in the number of executions in Iran since Rouhani took office. And this alarming trend is apparently continuing. So far as we can ascertain, there have already, in the month of July, been more than 50 executions in Iran. So today, I think it's generally recognized that the human rights position in Iran is deplorable and must improve. And international action is needed to make the regime heed those concerns of the international community.
I believe that our gathering here today is important to ensure that more people understand the gravity of the crimes which took place in 1988. And it is, beyond comprehension of the scale of the human suffering, even assuming the numbers are 30,000, and to hear that actually the genuine number could be considerably higher is something I find distressing. And it disturbs me that many people in the United Kingdom have no idea about this. I think there's an awareness of the problems with the current regime, not as much as there should. The awareness is not as good as it should, but this is something that should stand out as a hugely grave crime. And I think it is important that we hear in Parliament MPs who are friends of the British Iranian community are speaking out and condemning this atrocity and doing all we can to bring an end to impunity and ensure that one day those responsible for this horror are brought to justice.
We've heard the evidence from people whose relatives or indeed at first hand who are victims of the regime of the mullahs, and I think it's very important that we record that evidence and make sure that that evidence is replayed to governments across the world. We should remember as well that as long ago as the 29th of August 2013, Amnesty International pointed out that the reign of the mullahs is seeking to erase the evidence of the massacres. We must not allow them to do it. So we have a focus of the United Nations Human Rights Council meeting in September. We must, and I call on everyone here, to petition the MPs, petition our government to put forward a strong case at that Human Rights Council that there should be an international inquiry into the massacre in 1988. That must be a central focus of what we do. And of course, we are not alone. Although you've had many distinguished speakers from Parliament today, and we've got one or two more before we finish. Back in earlier this year, I was very pleased and honoured to co-sponsor an early day motion calling for the release of political prisoners and for an investigation into the massacres in 1988, co-sponsored by Sir David Amess, Sir Alan Meale, Jim Shannon, Jim Dowd, Gavin Robinson, and signed by 80 other members of Parliament. That demonstrates that there is all-party support for justice and for freedom in Iran, and we must build on that. It must never become a party political cause, but it must be that we bring people together. I call publicly for the IRGC to be a proscribed organisation and all their assets seized. And then we should see Madam Maryam Rajavi as the new head of state of Iran in a free and democratic Iran, and nothing less should be our aim.